Zastrzeżenie. Informacje i materiały edukacyjne zawarte w niniejszym dokumencie mają na celu promowanie ogólnego zrozumienia i dialogu na temat przetwarzania informacji przez GANS. Nie są one przeznaczone ani nie powinny być traktowane jako substytut klinicznego szkolenia, doświadczenia lub osądu profesjonalisty w dziedzinie opieki zdrowotnej. Dla pacjentów i osób indywidualnych informacje te nie zastępują profesjonalnej porady medycznej, terapeutycznej ani opieki zdrowotnej. Nie mogą one być podstawą do podejmowania decyzji dotyczących leków ani innych metod leczenia. Czytelnicy, widzowie i słuchacze powinni zawsze skonsultować się ze swoim lekarzem, a w poważnych przypadkach natychmiast szukać pomocy u służb ratunkowych. Informacje dotyczące recept, procedur oraz stosowania urządzeń medycznych powinny być wykorzystywane wyłącznie przez odpowiednio przeszkolony i certyfikowany personel medyczny. Zastrzegamy sobie wszelkie gwarancje, zarówno wyraźne, jak i domniemane, w tym domniemanie gwarancje przydatności handlowej lub przydatności do określonego celu. Informacje są udostępniane tak, jak są i uważa się je za dokładne w momencie publikacji. Jednak to odbiorca jest odpowiedzialny za ocenę ich prawdziwości. Każdy przedstawiony przypadek dotyczy wyłącznie osoby, która go doświadczyła i nie ma zastosowania do innych osób. Każda osoba mająca problemy zdrowotne powinna zasięgnąć profesjonalnej porady medycznej i skonsultować swoje leczenie z lekarzem. Opisane tutaj procesy balansowania plazmy są naturalnym procesem wspierającym organizm, ale nie zastępują porady lekarskiej ani terapii, którym dana osoba już podlega. Zastrzeżenie. To jest moje prywatne zastrzeżenie, w którym chcę ująć parę wątków. Nie jestem przedstawicielem Fundacji Kesze, a jedynie poszukiwaczem wiedzy, tak jak każdy z nas. W żaden sposób, prowadząc ten program, nie jestem związany z Fundacją Kesze, nie występuję w jej imieniu. Jestem po prostu gospodarzem samego spotkania, z zamiłowania i chęci podzielenia się tak wielką wiedzą i jej pięknem, które każdy z nas posiada na tak wiele różnych sposobów. Wszelkie tłumaczenia są naszą interpretacją tego, co rozumiemy z wątków tłumaczonych. I jakakolwiek moja prywatna działalność jest jedynie moją osobistą formą zrozumienia wiedzy dzielonej przez Fundację Kesze i nie ma, jak i nie powinna mieć żadnego wpływu na interpretację Twoją lub działalność samej fundacji. Jeżeli wypowiadam się w tych nagraniach, są to wypowiedzi oparte o moje zrozumienie, osobiste doświadczenie, co nie znaczy, że MT Kesze miał to samo na myśli podczas nauczania. Dziękuję Wam za Waszą interpretację i zachęcam Was do wypowiedzenia jej na tak wiele różnych sposobów podczas tego spotkania. Witam Was, moi drodzy, w kolejną niedzielę, gdzie będziemy sobie po raz kolejny prezentować przetłumaczoną wersję z napisami kolejnego warsztatu Poszukiwaczy Wiedzy organizowany przez Fundację Kesze, a prowadzonym przez Maranatha Wakoli Kesze. Dzisiejszym tematem będzie 598 warsztat. Myślę, że jego treść też będzie bardzo ciekawa i interesująca dla wielu z nas. Całość wykładu, przetłumaczonej części oczywiście jest około 2 godzin, także bez zwłoki zapraszam do lektury.
Usual, wherever and whenever you listen to this series of knowledge from Poszukiwaczy Spaceship Institute. We welcome you back. Rick, please go to the session of the people who are with us and bring all the KF lines 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 as a panelist. We welcome you back to a new cycle of teaching. Today, for the first time, we interact during the teaching directly with the soul of the knowledge seekers. I have put on a panel in the back. If you have a headphone, use your headphone. And if you don't have a headphone, try to be somewhere in the system that you can hear like a stereo and you can have a joint link with us. We are testing a new cycle, new way to teach. In a way, we are still one missing, number 4, please. There's one unit 4 to come up. We are testing to bring you all to learn how to interact with the central energy of your system, your body, and at the same time to run what we call repair parallel system. What does this mean? Every part of a system has to be perfect for it to be able to transmute, for it to be able to reach the point of what we call the understanding of how to travel the span of the universe. Today's teaching is part of that process, which we used to do every Friday, once a month, with knowledge seekers. Today we are testing something very interesting that we would like to see how you feel, how you test yourself, and how you change and affect your change in the next days, coming weeks, and the rest of it, how more easily you can reach to understand the difference between the dream and reality, and what is actually yourself. If you have any problem, please do not listen to the teaching of today, because this teaching is controlled by us very much in parallel with all the teachings of the past, which means we are dictating the terms of changing the inner energy. In a way, we are interfering with the cycle of understanding of yourself by yourself. You will understand exactly what I'm talking about, but knowledge seekers who are familiar with the work of the Keshe Foundation, you've been in many sessions, use your headphones and enjoy the trip. And let us know how you feel. Let us know how you understand different than any other teaching of the past. We have over 3,000 lines available on the channels that people can join if there are other knowledge seekers who want to enjoy the trip.
Mr. Keshe says, sorry to interrupt, there's a question, are wireless headphones okay?
Try it. If you don't get interference, try it. This is, we did not announce this beforehand, as we didn't want to get people coming in and just be there. We wanted to knowledge seekers who are always here to listen. But what will be interesting is those of you who listen afterwards. If you get the same effect through the emotion of the field and how this will bring changes to you in many ways. Do you suffer from Alzheimer's? Do you suffer from anxiety? Do you suffer from what we call addiction? Do you have problems in balancing? Do you have any kind of physical changes? Do you have skin rashes? Do you have eczema? Do you suffer from what we call anxiety attacks? Do you have asthma? Do you see any kind of condition which you might see? Observe them, because this is not a medicine. This is in the way you're repairing yourself. We have developed the technology to reach the man in space. And now, today, we test it to see how many of you actually become recipient and how you interact with yourselves. We do not add anything. We do not do anything. We do not feed medicine or anything. It's just that we have created the environment for conditions that you are not aware of, but you always live within. This comes part of the teaching. This is part of what we said about the time, place, space, and position, and intellect, and enlightenment. There is a cycle of knowledge which man has not understood, but man has full information about it, never been put in the sequence of the events. This is the way what we do today is a parallel to what will happen on the 19th of July in Vienna in the conference, in the presentation of the technology to reach beyond the boundaries of the human knowledge. What is important for us is to understand how we create time, connected to the physical side, which is the place, position, and possession, and to the energy side, which is the emotion, intellect, and what we call enlightenment. Mankind has to understand the connection between the two and the link between the two, where the emotion is the link between the world of physicality and the world of energy. How does this work? We know it, we do it, and we just been there. We never had to understand it. But now we have to understand it because it creates a time. Physically, you have the place, the position, and the possession. Place in the womb, position, child, possession. Two mixed up plasmas, two different characteristics coming together, and you have the physical side. The emotion side comes from the love of a man and a woman who want to create that child. And when, and does not matter being aware of or unaware of dimension of the soul, lead to creation of the child. The time starts. The physical place, position, and possession cannot come into leading to existence of life if the emotion is not there, the love to reproduce, to set up, to be done. It does not matter if it's done by consent of we love each other, we want to make a child, or any other conditions, forced and unforced, not known, but the souls are aware of, even though physicality is not. Because you have to understand, when I got accidentally pregnant and accidentally we didn't plan happened, does not exist. Because up to now you ignore the energy side. What did you do? What is the plan for that child to bring the changes in the future? And what you've done, that plan is set by the soul. I got raped and I got pregnant. What was the reason and what is set for the future? The soul have decided. Now you understand, nothing is accidental. The time is chosen by the souls, the physicality, executes the time. At the same time, even if it's a love child, we want to have a child, the two sperm and egg, which have got nothing to each other, from two different bodies, come together. And then when that soul is created, that time when the child will be born physically will have and has effect on the future of the life of the souls which have created it. So we say 9 months and so whatever, that's a possession. But that possession cannot come into unless emotion is set into it. Now we see how the emotion on the energy side, we call the soul side, dictates even the second, the moment that you are created. 1 day before, 2 weeks later, there is a reason, because it's set to the energy side. It's like the spring and the autumn and the winter. Earth cannot do anything. It's set by the sun. Earth is just a carrier. If you move the earth slightly different that way, there will be no summer, no winter, and the trees and the plants have no what we call control over it. It's the same. The soul of the planet is the sun, dictator of the condition. So the time is dictated by the fields and not by the manifestation of what is the physicality of the earth and the seed and what they possess in them. This is the same story as today. You're all subjected, you all are open to receive the energy through what we give you through the headphones. And then let's see what you deliver in dimension of physicality. Today's session is so close to creation of time that we, in the coming time, show you exactly what we're going to do with it. And this month, July session, you will see the change in transmutation. We bring it to the dimension of the nearness to your soul, that you decide how to interact. We create the condition, you bring in the time. This is why the time of the man, I will go there for lunch, and I do this next year, and I do this next day, is man's time. You have not considered the time on the energy side, which is the soul of the man. What we call intellect, what you call the understanding of the science of life on the energy side, has not been understood by the man. Enlightenment is not just by understanding something, is by what will happen in the condition of the energies of the side of the universe, not the physicality of the man. You commit a crime, your grandchild will pay for it. Who kept the book? You? You're already dead when the grandchild is born. The soul has kept the book. The energies which your misconduct has created the emotion of is keeping the book. The time of judgment is not with the dimension of physicality. The time of judgment is kept by the book of the soul. The energy side, untouchable. You think you did something behind a closed door and nobody knows? Your soul is there. It takes the time. And then you watch years later, days later, something goes wrong, says, how did it happen? Why this happened to me? because you thought you chat a mistress on the line, but the soul was aware of the harm up to the wife. TikTok, an accident, damage to you, doesn't hurt no one, or it does. It's the reason for the others to be involved according to the dimension of the energy of the time of the soul. Now you understand. The time is not in the hand of the man's physical dimension. You can choose the time when you wake up. You can choose the time when you go to this work. You can choose the time what you do. But the consequence of what time you wake up and who you do harm to, who you bring pleasure to, is kept by the book of the soul. The time is set by them where to come. It's not destiny. It's dimensional. The time set by the book. In real life, man will understand totally how life will change if he understands that it is always present, omnipotent in presence by the soul of the man, watching the physicality of the man. What do you do, how you do, the way you do, and how you interact. Now you understand where the time of the energy side, which connected to the emotion with both, affects the time of the physicality. There is no time if you don't do wrong to create that time. Now you understand where and how you affect the timing of your life in the actual timing of your energy, what you call the soul. That motion you make in the dimension of physicality, which creates an emotion, will affect how you understood from intellect of what you physical doing creates the condition for it to enlighten the soul of the man what to do with you in the time to come. The day of judgment is set by your soul, not by God, and not by the God knows fire and the honey and the milk. Your soul serves that fire, your soul serves that honey according to your own conduct. Having thoughts to do wrong is already through the emotion which created in you what pleasure that wrong will give you, registered by the soul, and decision how to see the reacts of it will come. Now you understand, time is not set by the man, time is set by the soul of the man. Then you understand even the creation of the child, 9 months, is set by the possession, but the delivery of the time is set by the soul of the man, when the two souls agree to. The understanding of the totality of the life is to understand both times, the time of physicality and the time of energy, and how the two are connected. One is a bookkeeper and one is the book. You do not decide on how your future life will be if you do not understand the reality of what I call the memory bank of what you've done and what emotion you have created, that soul through his intellect and his what we call enlightenment enlightens you later. You set the fire of the hell for yourself. You set the fire of joy for yourself. because you only think I did it behind a closed door, nobody knows. Unfortunately, that hidden energy known as the emotion of the man, known as the soul of the man, is always with you. It's the only one you cannot fool. You close your eyes and you plan. The soul is already writing the book of the future for you. You type something to hurt someone, you do something to hurt someone, does not matter. The book has already written by you, typed on the phone, written by the soul. Enlightenment of what will happen to you in the future. Many of us understand this. Go back to the writing of the Christ. Even clothing is forbidden. You cannot have fancy thoughts of others when you think it's just in your head. The soul has already registered. Misconduct does not come by the action. Misconduct comes through the thoughts. And the soul is aware of the emotion that thoughts has created. Then it's intelligence, and then it's enlightenment. Lightens you up to what happens in the future. This is how we give ourselves cancer. This is how we bring our lives to an end. This is how there is no accident, because the souls have already written the book of the man for the man. Now you understand. The time, physical time, is partially in your head. The true time is in the hand of the energy side, what we call the soul of the man. The enlightenment, the action. The ones who keep two timers have to live with two times. One day I was in Frankfurt Airport years ago, and I saw an Iranian girl behind the cashier. I gave her €100. And then I changed my mind. I have less notes. Then I gave her €20. Her, in her mind, she gave me back change for €100. I said to her, lady, coincidentally she was Iranian, and I understood, as I explained to her, you made a mistake. She said, no, I'm correct. I said, you know something, I sit on that chair, you count your till, because I get more money from you, I can put in my pocket and walk away. But tonight you have to pay from your wages, and you become somebody stealing from the till. I said, she bothered. When she had no customers, she opened the till, she counted, says, oh my God, I made a mistake, thank you very much. I said, if I take the money, I have to pay 4 times more. Why should I do this? I have to spend energy how I took money from you. I have to spend how to spend it. And then you lose money, and then I have to pay for you. This way, you are correct, I'm correct. I live at peace, because I don't want to pay future time. I have to work 3 times more to pay for your losses, plus what I've spent time to steal from you. She said, can I give you a drink free? I said, no, then you steal from your boss. I'm happy. I got what I want. I paid for what I want. We have to be aware of time. We always time it with 12 o'clock, 24 hours a day. The soul works. Universal time never ends. Now you understand Why we teach about time? Because if you understand the time, if you understand the effect of the two times, that they have to work together to be one time, then man will survive the span of universe. You cannot lie to go and see a mistress when you can transmute when the wife is at home, has no food to eat. Soul would not allow it to happen. It's not the Keshe Foundation technology that doesn't work. It's you who haven't understood the technology of your own life. The truth about timekeeping has to be correct in all times, both in the physical and in the energy side, the soul of the man. Now you understand. It's not time for us to clock in 24 hours. It's time for us to understand that time never stops, and it always leads to its own destiny through the dimension of the energy side of the man and not the physical dimension of 24 hours of the man. The real time is the time of the soul, because it's, in a way, is sequentially in parallel and in line with the rest of the times of the others in the universe. The soul of your wife, the soul of your child, the soul of your boss, the soul of the cat in Africa, and the soul of the man on the moon. This is why I always said we live in a schizophrenic life of physicality and the energy, and we never understood the energy side. We never come to comprehend the totality of the reality of what life is, what time is, and how time is dictated by our emotions and our behavior in the dimension of physicality. Because the bookkeepers know exactly what time to bring in what is needed. Then you understand why we have problems in the cycle of life with our children. The way they are born, the diseases they get, the condition they bring to us, and then we watch the joys is the expansion of our soul. And the sufferings and the way they suffer is a combination of time of the soul of my conduct, my wife's conduct, my child's conduct, and others who I did wrong to, and my fathers and forefathers did wrong to, that the child has to pay for. Then, if you love that child, why don't you stop doing wrong, that that child does not need to suffer, that pay for your time, because what happened, the soul kept the book of the time, not the man in the 24 hours of the day of his life. Then you understand when we say the time comes that there will be no crime, because man will understand that it works in the time of the universal link of the energy and not the time of the physicality of waking up and sleeping and the rest of it. Why is this important? Because when we come man of space, even in the dimension of physicality, sleeping 24 hours a day, waking up 12 o'clock in the morning has no meaning once you're in space. Which time did you choose? Or you're still stuck to the tradition of the village you came from when you live in the city. Do we go to sleep 8 hours a day in the space? No, the time is irrelevant because we receive the energy from the universe. Would man ever sleep in the space? More or less, no. What you see in the movies, sleeping quarters, does not exist in no UFOs who understand the work of the universe, because it's a Chinese system. There are no holidays, everyday work, 9 to 5 in Europe, 24 hours in China. We have introduced the Saturdays and the Sundays and the rest of it for benefit of our prophets and profit makers of religion. You go to China, it's open 24 hours a day. You never end the life, it goes on. There's no Saturdays and Sundays, and there is no weekends and the rest, unless they made you to. It's the same as the work of the plants. They have no weekends and no holidays. They work 24 hours a day, 365 days a week. Spring, let's bring the leaf, make the fruit, go to sleep, and then store some energy for the next time. Man takes as much breaks and holidays and sleep time in the space as man, as the plants does and the universe does. Now you understand how we dictate the time by condition of our own conditioned life on this planet. But the souls don't have time. The energies of the universe have no time. Because time is always zero. Starts through the emotion. And you run many millions of the programs together through the emotion of the physicality, which affects the reaction and emotion of the energy side of the man. Maybe mankind will understand from now on how the two timing has to become one through the emotion. I made man in the image of myself, but there is no time for me, as the time comes from the time when energies interact to create that new condition of time. Try to understand. And if you understood this, try to go back to zero. But there is no time. But you are the creator of all times. If you can do that, you can transmute. Man cannot do wrong, because once you make a decision to do wrong or to do something which is not correct, or the outcome will not be correct, or the emotion it creates does not fit, you cannot do. You cannot plan to transmute in subconscious or whatever you want to call it. I go from London to New York, there I beat the hell out of my wife. You cannot transmute, you stay where you are. I decide to go to New York and kiss my wife and adore her. Transmutation becomes very easy. One day I explain the reason and how it works. This is why I always said, with this technology can never harm, because it's the energy of the universe created in the dimension of positiveness. In what creates, the creator never destroys. Even what it looks as a destruction is the beginning of a life for another structure. Half life and half time life of man, which is death, is the point of his split, as I explained before. Mankind has to understand is here to nourish the energy side for it to start a new cycle. So life does not end by the last breath. Life starts from the last breath, but what we call the half-time life of the man. But man has to understand it has two directions: physicality of the man and the dimension of energy of the soul of the man, which has the true time with itself and carries on. Try to understand how emotion from the energy side connected to the emotion from the physicality side as the place and a position can all be changed. And in the emotion, it brings a new dimension and connection between the time of the two, the energy side and the physical side. Once man understands this, man will move into the new dimension of what we call transmutation, understanding how he can bring the two time to zero and then decide on the condition of the transmutation of the energy or dimensional transfer through physical side. Man knows the physical side well by running and getting in the car and doing everything else. But man has not understood that in the energy side is only one kind of transmutation, and that's through the fields of the universe, cosmic rays. And all get on the same train, same speed, same direction, and the same what we call position, and the place when it comes to the dimension of physicality. And if you understood this, in the future time, I'll explain in a full understanding of why even the frequencies are created, what you call frequencies. Go back to the teaching of the past. How many times I've gone back on the point saying simple. There is no frequency in the plasma. Frequency only appears when the dimension of the interaction of the fields don't match. In the plasma is unisons. It's only DC. In the next week's session, I'll bring you that to feel it. I'll let you feel that. When you're in the dimension of the plasma, and when you're in the dimension of the emotional feeling of reality of the time, while you're in the session, you will feel the emotion of the soul, and then you feel the joy of the physicality. I'll bring you a sensation you never knew. If you understand, if you feel, if you're connected to both dimensions of the energy and the soul, those of you who received your cosmic ray bundles, come into the session with those. Those of you who have those balls, come into the session with those. Then you have the trip of your lifetime. This is why I teach you both, to understand that you have a dimension of physicality and you have a dimension of energy. The soul of the man, what we call the energy side, physicality of the man who walks on the street. And then I show you how times are created by interaction of the fields of the universe and not by the dimension of physicality of the man. Those of you who receive the cosmic ray balls, you have it. Hopefully you should have some by next week. Send us your information, how you felt when we bring the connection of the soul of the man to the dimension of physicality of the man. The pains of it, the transmutation of it, and understanding the transfer of it. Once men understand, as a schizophrenic condition of the man with dimension of physicality and dimension of energy, one leads with the frequency and one has no frequency. And the soul connects itself through the emotion to transmute through the emotion to change that, what I call universal fields, to dimension of the physicality of the time, place, and position, and the position of the fields. The true game of the energy, fields, soul of the man, the physicality of the man starts with us. I hope you enjoyed the trip, and I hope you understand what it is, what is set, and what it will be in the future time for all of you to understand the time of physicality and time of the energy. And then you will understand there are no accidents. Then you understand there are no coincidences. What is coincidence to you is a collection and connection of the time of physicality with what the souls have planned to deliver from the emotion you transferred to them for the dimension of the interaction of the two. You call it coincidence. We call it the time of judgment, as the judgment comes when the man of the crime stands in front of the judge. The time of the soul is the judge, and the time of the physicality is the criminal. And then the outcome is the judgment. In a way, the Adam and Eve, one is unaware, but fully aware of subconsciously what is done. And the time and the place and the position is the day of judgment. Something interesting I explained before, and maybe you understand. It's a crude way, in a way, the reality way of understanding. When next time you're in a car crash, when next time you hit someone by accident, you get knocked off or they get knocked off, just don't walk away. Sit down and talk to the other side and go in their backgrounds, and then you understand how the souls of them and the souls of you have brought us to be in that position of the accident. And what is the outcome of the accident down the line to the ones who were involved or be involved in that process. What you did wrong, what they did wrong, or somebody did wrong to them, for them to be there, for them to find out in the future that accident you had on the street had the outcome of the decision of the souls in their timeline. Then you understand there are no accidents. Balancing of the books, present, future, and the past. Then you understand. Every action has a consequence and a reaction, but action is the physical side. The reaction is what the soul has registered and is a paytime time. Now you understand how man needs to live a pure life, because he is only aware of the physical time and he always ignored the time of the soul. What connects man to the others as is just a puppet in the dimension of physicality. One day, once man fully understands this, man will come to understand the position, the possession, and the whole reality of the life. Silence and the emotion it creates is the dimension of the soul of the man. Man shows his reaction physically. and he had to stand for what it does in physical dimension, in sequence of works through the energy side, through the soul of the man. Try to understand this and try to teach this to your children and those who understand. And then you'll find out gradually, you come to understand that how pleasant the life will become. I always said, when I put my head down, I have no worries. Because whatever I had to worry about was during the daytime what I did. And to that sequence, I wait for no punishment. And if you learn that, you work with it, you walk through it, and you understand that life will bring everything needed to survive the span of the universe, let alone the physical life. Never planned and never will plan to do nothing wrong, because I'm aware of what is there to be done. Everything has a sequence of work, and everything has a sequence of connection of the fields of the universe and the physicality of the life. And once you understand this, you can bring the soul of physicality of the man in emotion in parallel with the soul of the man's emotion. Then you can transmute. Transmutation is fueled by the man's conduct and emotion, and not by petroleum and not by jet engines. You feed it through the conduct of the energy of the physicality, and you create problems for it when the physicality goes in the dimension of creation of its own problem. How many times you heard so many people tell us, I do no wrong to no one, but I don't know why it happens to me this way. Sorry, you forgot about the emotion, your thoughts, and everything which is wrong in it is an open book to the energy side. And still you get the consequence of its time and time to come. Now you understand how it works. The timing has to be right. And then the life will find its own time to deliver what it needs. Hope you understood the teaching of today. And I hope you understand what it needs to be done by the man of today for the future children of the man in the universe. We go for a break and we come back. We'll try to answer your questions. During the break or after, you don't need to take your headphones off. You can keep them on as the process is ongoing.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Kesh. I thought for our And Mr. Kesh, I think you're probably ready to go ahead with whatever you have in mind.
Oh, there's a lot in my mind you don't want to know. First of all, before I forget, those of you who are coming to Vienna for the conference, please book your reservation on the site we have already released for next Saturday, sorry. It's from 3 to 6 o'clock and in the afternoon. And just go to the links provided or send a request if you don't have the link to info@kesh.foundation. We try to post that everywhere possible, and we try to inform you as whatever. It'll be enlightening and amazing, what I call presentation. Trying to bring a new technology, a new understanding into public in a different way, as we are there by invitation of the association. We try to be very clear in what the technology sits and where it stands and the rest of it. In the last session of July session on a Friday, as we said, we bring you to a position to transmute for yourself. And today we set up a system in the background, and I hope many of you have understood it, especially if you had a cosmic ray, what we call balls with you, to test it, to understand it. This system will be ongoing for a few more minutes, and then we switch it off and we withdraw. But it'll be interesting to see how you feel the difference between on and off condition after bringing up for you to understand your central energy and what you call the work of the soul. In this, it allows to do the first transmutation tests, which we are doing in the background for what we call development of the technology and how things are taking place in our structure and our work. On the other hand, please, in the next week or two, pay close attention to market operation and what will happen in the stock market with market. It is important that those of you who have bought shares receive your certificates and confirmation of. You got to understand, Markray is a financial arm of the Keshe Foundation, is international operations in what we call new development of technologies, and our cooperation and collaboration with many countries which are coming up will directly affect the share value. And make sure that your shares are registered, that in the future you'll not be what we call, say, given fake shares or fake valuation of the shares and the rest of it. As I said, the valuation of the shares in the stock market does not reflect in what the Keshe Foundation does, because we are doing some works that we have to put in the right way for it to indicate its position and what value. So please, those of you who bought shares, make sure you have your shares in your hand, and at the same time be aware that Keshe Foundation has received 2.8 million shares for disbursement to support the Keshe Foundation to provide and solve the problem we are currently in, which we hope that we can do that in the next few weeks. Understand your, what I call, the position in the stock market, and those of you who ask us you would like to purchase shares from us, the shares are given at a value which has been offered by the knowledge seekers to us to support the work of the Keshe Foundation, and does not reflect what is in the stock market share prices. In a way, you're investing in the future of the foundation work. And at the same time, the valuation will reflect on its own work in the coming time. In respect to work of the what I call the Keshe Foundation and the work of us with space work and what I call the defense technology, we will call upon many of you who work in this industry to join us in a very near future. If you are in a space, plasma, nuclear, and in what I call quantum physics, quantum communication, satellites, and you'd like to work with the Keshe Foundation, let us know as we're creating new opportunities in the next 2-3 weeks that we are looking for elite scientists to join us. The word will go out. We'll promote it through our work through market cooperation. But if you're knowledge seekers in this field, please join us. Let us know, and then we'll bring you in with your knowledge you have in the plasma of the Keshe Foundation to set up the next steps for what we call the space technology development. If there are any questions, please let me know. And let's see where we go.
Thank you, Mr. Kesh. We have a hand up here with Azhar. Would you like to go ahead first, Azhar?
Good morning, Rick. Good morning, Mr. Kesh. Mr. Kesh, the subject you talk about today you talk about this, mentioned this in different ways many times in previous lectures, previous teaching. I remember one time you talk about a man who was cheating on his wife, and then the souls decided when he was in a car with his mistress to have an accident. So the wife finds out about what he was doing. Like, I'm mind-boggled that how is it that someone like Netanyahu, for past 30-something years, is killing women, children, doctors, journalists, left and right in so many different ways. And then I was listening to UN Charter, one of the countries represented talked about one pediatric doctor leaves in the morning, goes to the hospital. She had 10 kids at home from 6 months to 12 years, and they were all gone while she was at the hospital. Only one 4-year-old was in bad condition, and the husband was in coma. And I'm thinking about why, when this booking balancing of the book is going to happen with this guy, because sometimes I'm not in that part of the world, but sometimes where I am, I get shiver in my body.
You got to understand that there are what I call, first of all, we get these in what I call localized. That, as I said before, the situation with this guy is just what is in Israel and what's going to happen around the world and the rest of it. But these are the souls which have set for a specific reason. We look at his way. You see, there is something very interesting. On the first few days of the war in Gaza, you heard one missile hitting the Gaza area by the Iranians. And a question was sent to me, why, if the Iranians are there to support the people in Gaza, why have they hit a missile in the southern part of Gaza? We didn't respond. But what happened actually, in that hit, more or less no one from Gaza was killed. 5,000 Israeli soldiers were wiped out in one attack. The outcome it is, you go on the news, you'll understand the severity of this, which is 100% correct. 3 Israeli generals died in that accident. The guy who designed the Iron Dome was in that base. They were designing to make more mayhem in that area. The 2 other generals who are behind all the atrocities of Israel and southern in Gaza. They're all wiped out. 3 generals don't accidentally die out of nowhere. They were in a camp, 5,000 the most, the ones who did most of the atrocities in Gaza. In one go, the whole division wiped out 5,000 soldiers. It's not in the news. In a few months' time, it'll come out. Even the parents don't know their children have wiped out. What happened? The question to ask is not, Mr. Netanyahu. The question to ask is who in Iran pressed that button? He's responsible. The one who designed the rockets are responsible. In a way, it stops another point, but in reality, which one has done what? You watch the news very, very clearly. Take out Netanyahu in New York or in Washington a few weeks ago, his body language, and watch his body language last Monday in Washington. He is gone mental. He's not the same man. Why? When the head of Mossad was killed, he was in a car less than 20 meters away. He tried to run, but he got hit by the remnants, so he just didn't get killed. He spent 2 days in a mental institute in Tel Aviv. The man walks and talks, but the man is totally just gone inside. You watch the body language of him in front of Trump last Monday. It's the first time ever a president has been invited to the White House for dinner and never given a dinner. You do not know what goes on in him. You do not know what his soul has to deliver in the future for what he's done. We are not here to judge. You watch the internet very clearly. All the soldiers who have done atrocities in Gaza, Israeli soldiers, you see dancing and everything a few months ago. Watch them on the internet. They are now with no legs, no arms, in a wheelchair, hands and arms cut off, and they have to live with that. You remember there were 2 girls dancing on the bodies and the graves of the Palestinian children? You see where they are today. They lost arms and legs, literally just the body left. You're not in their heads. Never judge. Let them what it is. There is a reason for what is going on, what's happening, and what is there. You go back, you're Iranian. You go back, what did Palestinians do in Iran during the Iranian Revolution? How did the Palestinians kill hundreds of thousands of Iranians on the streets of Tehran? They got paid for it. $1, $3 per barrel. Yasser Arafat was paid for to kill as many Iranians as he could on the streets of Tehran. 40 years later, the same thing's happening with the children. When we said that no Iranians killed no Iranians during the Iranian Revolution, there were Palestinians paid to kill. And now what they did 40 years later, they're paying for it. Why are you in New York? Why are you in Brazil, wherever you are, Mexico? Didn't you have a perfect life in Iran? When you look at the Palestinians, why it's happening to them, ask them what they did in Iran 40 years ago on the streets of white children, men, there were bloodbath on the pavements of Tehran in Iran. No one spoke Farsi. Then look at the Syria. What happened to Syria? The same thing. when you talk, see what their forefathers have done. Then leave the judgment to them what's going to happen to Netanyahu and the Israelis. Let me tell you something. Go back into the teaching. You find it in one of my teachings. I said soon there'll be ships, all the Jews trying to get onto all the American naval forces and all the ferries to take the Israelis out of Israel, Tel Aviv. You remember a few months ago I said that? Hasn't it happened? You can't buy even a ticket to cross to go to Cyprus. Go back to the teaching. You think the Jews did good? They have no, you don't, they put a ban on the news in Israel. There's shortage of water, food. There's shortage of electricity. There's shortage of medicine. Tel Aviv, Israeli airports have become like what I said in one of my teaching very recently, exactly the copy of what we had in Berlin. For how long? Every day jet planes flew in, delivering food and everything from toilet roll to paracetamol to Berlin because there was no land connection. Israel is living under that condition today. What did these people do with the Palestinians for the past 2.5 years? So time has its own thing. And when I said all these naval ships, I told the officials they'll be there to collect the Israelis just trying to escape. And it's happened. Go on the teaching, you'll find it. Or in one of the private teachings I said, because the judgment is done by the souls. Don't look what Netanyahu is just a tool to bring an end to a condition. There is a very big difference between the Zionists and the Jews. And if you look, most of the Israeli prime ministers and presidents are all Ukrainian. They're all Ukrainian. Netanyahu is Ukrainian background. All the Israeli leaders from the beginning of establishment of this nation are East European, many Ukrainians. And what's happening in Ukraine? Why we have a problem in both positions together now? Now you understand. So leave it. The time has come to settle a lot of things through the souls. We see it, it's there. Some men suffer, but you have to understand what happens to suffering of the men which are there and then. And the same with Hitler, the same with Genghis Khan. Look at the future of their life, the cycle of their nations and cycle of the people who are involved.
It's the case, so we pay for a great grandfather if they did something wrong. We pay for it.
500 generations.
So why?
As man looks at the sunrise, sunset, souls have no sunset, sunrise.
But you know, the child that dies, he wasn't involved in what his grandfather did.
You never know what effect will have on the soul and energy of the mother and the father and the nation.
It means it got whatever it was, and it was whatever it was left.
This is the cycle. This is a cycle of life, physical life, which has a parallel in energy.
Because it's a DNA thing, you think? Is a DNA that transfers?
One day I explained. Nothing to do with DNA.
Okay. Thank you.
When the man matures, I explain. Man understands why you don't see wars in the universe, because people came to understand that point. You got to understand, at the moment, I said a very interesting point if you understand it. They brought in for us the cornflakes, and you need a cornflakes every day. It's the best thing for your life, and the Americans pushed it in your markets and the rest of it. The worst thing you can give to a child in a breakfast is a cornflakes. Sets for the future diabetic conditions, sets for a lot of problems. The worst thing you can give your child is a cornflakes, in any shape or brand or whatever you put. And they say it's the best thing to eat, the best thing that gives you everything you need. Yes, diabetics and a lot of other diseases in the future cycle we put in our children from the beginning. And this is the right of us to do. We do it unknowingly, but we do it because we were told this is what is the best. We just take the word for it. The same thing has happened is that you hear from the lot of Jews, they said, we are the chosen one. And I said, yes, you're chosen to be punished for the rest to learn from. You are not chosen to own everything. You are chosen to be the examples of the humanity to learn about how evil can be. What happened with them in the Second World War, they claimed. What happened with them now in Israel? What happens with them in the future to come? Why have they been always nomads? We have nomads of nations. We have nomads of religion. And these guys are nomads of religion. They have nowhere to go because they never learned. They never learned from the mistakes and the things their forefathers did. Starting from Moses. If you look at every holiday in Jewish calendar, celebrating killing people, celebrating mass murders, the spring, the flower festival is killing 300,000 Iranians, and they celebrate. Go into the history of this path of life. Then you understand. For themselves, they are the chosen one to be punished, not chosen one to own land. And then you understand more. We stop the sessions in the background, please. If you stop all the lines, and let us see what's happened. Thank you very much. Then you understand what this guy is doing. There is a lot. If I kill, I'm a murderer. But if I kill myself, it's a suicide. And this guy is a kamikaze suicide man. You will understand soon. You'll understand very, very soon. It brings an end to even the control in the American market, in the American government. Because he has to come in. The resentment has to come in from within. And they have created it themselves. They had to close their borders. They had to close everything. The people don't escape out of Israel. That's how they are keeping them in there. If it was in the hand of the Israelis, they would have had no Israelis left. State of Israel is gone. Israeli military is planning a coup d'etat against Netanyahu to put him on trial. They have not, there's one general, his vote is counting. And if that general moves in the Israeli army, there'll be a military takeover tonight. Netanyahu knows, everybody knows. Out of the balance, one general is keeping the guy in power. They wanted to. You got to understand, Israeli military has lost over 25,000 soldiers in the past 3 weeks. And they say only 400. Just add it up yourself. 2 military hospitals have been hit. Other military hospitals are empty. 2 military headquarters have 4 military headquarters. They're all empty. There's nobody in it. The biggest naval force in Mediterranean basin, Haifa, is wiped out. No soldiers was in it. Headquarters of Mossad has been wiped out with over 3,000 people in it. There's no building left in that headquarters. It was hidden, secret. Nobody knew. Nobody died in it. They've lost 96,000. Israel has lost over 10 to 15,000 of its military soldiers. You think the generals are going to sit there and watch it happening? You watch what I told you about loss of 5,000 soldiers. They don't tell us what happened in past 3-4 days, past week in Gaza, why Israelis are losing 70, 80 people every day, and there's nobody even to defend them. Because the people who are killing have gone. These soldiers are left in there and they're getting killed 50, 60, 70 a day in past week because there's nobody to support them. Even their own soldiers are afraid to land to pick their own bodies up. Then you tell Mr. Kesh, why you tell 5,000? Because the team which killed so many in past 2.5 years is wiped out. Nothing left of them. And now they don't have what they had. You hear more and more why Houthis are hitting Tel Aviv like a shower pen. Because America has no more anti-missiles to launch. They got 13 pieces left. American military does not allow any more to lead the American. This is why the Houthis are hitting like a kick. You think the army is going to say to take more killing? We get rid of the guy. Well, what's going to happen to the guy? What happened to Saddam? Why did his head separated from his body when he was getting hung? You know what Saddam's children he did with the Iraqis during the Iraq when he was in power? His sons went on Friday night excursions of going to the weddings and picking up the girls who are getting married virgin to kill the husband or whatever and just take the girl. How did they die? Where are they? Do you think they went easy? Do you know the atrocities they did in Iraq? They don't tell us. They won't let us. Now we hear about the what do you call the Christians? They call it in Syria getting slaughtered by the new regime. Do you know what they did? The Christians, the Maronites. They sided with the Syrian president, and all the killing done of the enemies and the people who are the opposition was done by Maronites, by the Christians. Now the Muslims have come in power. They're getting rid of Maronites, the ones who did all the killing for years. When they tell you, oh, they're killing the Christians in Syria, they don't tell you the other half of it. How Maronites killed so many people in the name of the regime. Always look why, what's it, what's the reason behind it. And then you understand the souls decide, not the man. There's no time zone for the souls. Man has a time zone.
Thank you, Mr. Kesh. That was very good. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Kesh. We have some questions in the Q&A. Question from George. Mr. Kesh, for someone who is supposed to follow a strict diet low in potassium, calcium, and phosphorus for a certain amount of time, would the Nutrigans with its 4 variants, the red, veggie, fruity, and herbs, help? I ask because potassium, calcium, and phosphorus are present in most vegetables, meats, fruits, and herbs, and a GANs of them would certainly contain them. Thank you for your answer.
Well, when we provide these gases on the experimental run or these things, they carry everything which is inside. They carry all the what you call attributes of what is in the vegetable, and so you have to understand why you're on a restricted diet of potassium, calcium, or whatever. Find the reasons, and then find the organ, and then find how you can balance it. It's a matter of balancing. It's a matter of energy balance. I know a lot about this because we've done a lot of tests on this, and hopefully in the next few weeks and next few months, you'll hear a lot of technologies like this will come out of the Keshe Foundation in China. We're planning a huge progress in Chinese development with, as you know, the contract we have signed. And many of these things will be addressed in next year or two. Huge amount of money is going into research and development, huge amount which is available to us to do. And then you will understand how you can change these things by understanding the energy balance. You don't need no restriction or diets, but you have to understand how the body works. And we've done that very successfully with this technology. Done that very, very successfully with this technology. If you remember, I explained years ago where the body was producing calcium and blocking the blood vessels and really, taking aluminum tablets and everything else to change this and that. It was costing British national health hundreds and hundreds of dollars a day to keep one person alive with different tablets and everything else. And it took less than 2 months, no tablets, nothing. You have to understand, you deal with the matter state when you deal with the present science of medicine, where you have to deal with the energy side. Energy side always dominates the matter side, and you can change it. But you have to find the cause of why you have these conditions. Psychologically, physically, change of whatever, change of diet, change of emotion, and then you can handle it. Just don't repair the car when you haven't changed the brake, which is cause of the accident. Find the faulty brake. Emotion, change in the system, how it can be changed. In the very near future, very, very near future, we will attempt to create a kidney inside the body which has lost its kidney. No transplant. Most probably in the next few months. We create a condition that the body can generate its own kidney with all the connection, exactly the same. We've done it with the brain of Naomi, so it's not far to do it. We've done it with generation of the toe. It's another understanding, another breakthrough in this technology. Any other question?
Vic, do you mind if I ask another question?
Go for it. It's not up to me.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Kesh, you talk
You
about
see, Rick, when people finish the question, you have to put them back into not on the panelists. That's why they come up. It's good for the future. Carry on.
Okay. When you talk about the thoughts, when we have something like the thought is bad, I give you an example because I don't know if I explain, if I can ask my question correctly. Okay, so there were these two guys, they were walking, they were going to go to the playhouse. Then they passed by a prostitution house. And then one of them says, I like to go here. I don't want to go to playhouse. I'm just going to go here because he wanted to go and spend the time with the woman. So he goes in there. The guy, he goes to the playhouse. He's playing, but he's constantly thinking about his friend who's having fun, but he's not. He's in playing. So is the guy, because this story was telling, the guy was telling me, the guy who is in the playhouse thinking about going there but not being there has more sin than the one who went to the prostitution house. So my question is, like, the thought we have, it doesn't matter if the action is there, but the thought itself is more important than the action. Am I correct?
Thought is registered in the soul of the man. As what you said, it depends what you bend to pray to. A lot of people go to the prayer houses, you call it the mosque, the church, the synagogue, and the rest of it. Some of them out of fear, some of them out of obligation, and very few out of sincerity, and some of them out of the fear of the future. There is a very good saying, no Jewish man goes to synagogue unless there is no business for it. That's why all the Jews every Saturday go to the synagogue. Different businesses. If you are of a Jewish understanding, when you go to synagogue, the front rows are very expensive to buy. It's not house of God that you go and sit anywhere. And the more money you have, it's like a football stadium actually. They changed the name to synagogue. You know, you have the private houses, private rooms in the football grounds. On the top, you pay 50, 100, 200,000 a year to have a private cabin. The synagogues are that way. And you buy, you pay, you see all the men sitting at the front because the seats are too expensive for the children and the wife. They sit in the back. And the story you said, there's a true story about the Jewish guy who goes in and his assistant is another Jew outside, pulling his hair out. The market is crashed. You bought the shares. So I'm trying to get to the guy to tell him what we're going to do. The guy walks out of the synagogue and the guy tells him, you lost everything. He says, no, I sold the shares to the guy next to me. He's a rich businessman, so he can take it. They go to synagogue for business. Does not matter what you pray to. The reality is your thoughts takes you where it is. Doesn't matter. You don't need to go there. This is what I said again to the Saudi guys. Where do you pray to when you're in the space and traveling and rotating everywhere else? Which Mecca? The Mecca has to be the cleansers of the soul of the man. That's where the Mecca is. That's where the actual point of it is. And again, you go to the house to pray, you go to the house to, what do you call it, for any other reasons, or you go to the any other house you like to call it.
Mr. Cash, my last question is this. Why is it that sometimes you see someone or you think about them and you just get irritated and you don't know why, like you just get bothered? I never had this experience. Suddenly I have this experience and I'm trying to find out why.
I hope it's not your husband.
No, it's just like, why do I get, like, inside of me, I get like a feel or like something like irritation, like I don't know where does it come from.
It's your own judgment.
But I don't know the guy.
It's the lack of trust in yourself. You see,
So it comes
people,
back to me. It's not him then.
just the way you receive the feels. There are many, many, many relationships, husband and wives, lovers, or whatever, children. We see every day, we love them, and one day we can't stand them. Why? Why? What's the reason? Why do we see? What creates that condition? Somebody we love so much we can't stand anymore. Are we aware of the truth within ourselves, or are we aware of the truth within them? I always said, and I'm a great believer in it, I don't do anything wrong when I wait for the time to come. I try not to do anything wrong, but still I do things wrong. Things go wrong, and then I say, why? And I sit back and say, oh, that was the reason.
But Mr. Cash, according to what you're saying, if I get irritated at my, say, your wife or my husband in 15, 20 years after you get married, it means there's something wrong with us then, not them.
We change our position.
So we change our position. So
we change our position in emotion. We change our position in understanding. We change our position because of what it is. It's very interesting because I know the feeling and I know emotion about this, and because I've been through it twice firsthand, not just once. So it's not the deviation that I mentioned, where you cannot understand your partner because you know it's full of lies, cheats, and everything else. Where you loved them before with more than your life.
But Mr. Cash, this is different story because somebody cheats and lies, so you change
but
position.
The thing is the same. Your cheat is not necessarily to be in your head. Your soul feels the cheat. Somebody is connected to you. It's the same. We just always connect things if it is understandable. We see it in the physical dimension. We are connected in the soul. We know what you could be a president and a man you see on a movie, but you don't know what's in the background, which is connected to the soul. This is why you have to be always aware. Why? Yeah, this is why I always say we are connected to everything else. It's just a magnet. You don't know this reason. Maybe it's connected to thousands of the souls like you can understand him, and then those reactions will change something in that man or somewhere for it to something to happen. This is why we go to cemeteries. This is why we pray for our fathers and forefathers who passed away. Because attention is energy, energy is emotion, emotion affects the soul, and the soul is connected to every other soul. Your great grandchildren won't remember you, don't even know your name. How do you remember or do you know who your great great grandfather was? No, because he has no connection to you, it's gone. But why do we every day pray to Christ or Muhammad? How much are they banking? The benefit of the prophet does not come on this land. The benefit of the prophet comes what's happening in the heavens, on the other side. You collect 1 cent a day from 1 billion people every day or 10 times a year. You can see how much you bank. The only prophet which is going with a negative banking is Moses. One day I explained.
Thank you, Mr. Cash.
You're welcome. You see, we have you talk about Netanyahu. Netanyahu was very close to the Saudi crown prince, was actually the ruler of Saudi. They are in the same, as I said, they're on the same path. He carries on murders and things in public. The other guy carries on murder in private. Read about the prince, the Saudi prince, who will become the ruler of Saudi. Over 500 royal family members have disappeared. $800 billion have siphoned off. Accident, emergencies, all sorts. Read about the new president crown prince of Saudi Arabia, and then you understand. Netanyahu is an angel in front of him. You will see. You'll read about it. Then who knows what souls know and what will come in the future. And you're
Okay, thank you, Azhar. We have Marinez has a hand up here. Would you like to go ahead, please?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Mr. Cash, for the teaching.
At least we get to talk here. I'm trying to get in to talk to you for weeks. It never happens. Carry on.
You're welcome. I'm just so happy with what you said because humanity was so depressed. And it's good that things are going right, probably. And I have a question, which is maybe not the place in a scientific place to be asked, but that's what it is on the YouTubes. Like, I know a person who is very documented when he talks, and there is a saying that the army of Israel has utilized 72 jinns to give information. Jinns is supposed to be the beings which have been created on earth before us, and according to what I know, they have no body, but they can affect things. And in some situations, if we sacrifice or we get their attention, they can give us the information and things like that.
I never heard of this. Go on, tell me.
This is Jen. This is Jen. There is a surat chapter in Quran is called Jen also. Means that it is these beings.
Oh, you call it Jenna Pari, you mean?
Yeah, I think Pari is more
Good
positive.
One. Yeah.
Probably, yeah. Yes.
Okay, now I understand what you're talking.
I'm not into these things, actually. I'm not familiar with this culture, but I'm getting to learn. So they use these to get information. And lately, I saw in Washington, Mr. Netanyahu gave a witchcraft gift to Mr. Trump. I think it's like one of these planes, which has the Jewish witchcraft in it as a gift. So, does it mean that as we see that these witchcrafts and things like that are not helping them anymore because they are getting weak, does it mean that the heart of humanity has waken up, the prayers have waken up, and they are getting slower, the forces of bad is getting slower in power. So we see, and we will see the good things in the world, like peace and humanity and fraternity and prosperity?
I answer you in a very, very nice way from a brain and thoughts of an African man. Because they believe in this. If you live in Ghana, the people don't like even to go for a haircut because they collect their hair because they can do damage them because they can take a piece of their hair and connect to them. When we used to live in Ghana, I noticed we're finding locks, padlocks in the garden, on the fences, every now and then. I said to my driver, what's going on? What are these? He said, I'll collect them, I'll collect them. There were 3 or 4 of them. So what do you do with them? He says, oh, this is bad. When they put this in your house, it brings bad luck, blah, 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 blah. I said, what do you do with them? He says, oh, they have to be got rid of special way. I said, I want to know. He said, no, you can't see that. I have to do it myself. I said, do you know something? I want to be there. I want to see how your culture goes. No, anyway, got in the car. He drove somewhere and he parked. And he came back. The locks are not with him. So what happened? So where did you go? He said, that's a public toilet. I took it to the toilet. We throw it in the toilet and we urinate on it. And it takes the jinx away. Or whatever bad luck they put on it. I thought, my God. I went to the office and this man was in office. I was explaining to him. He started laughing. He said, Mr. Kesh, you don't believe in it, it doesn't happen to you. And when you believe in it, you bring it to yourself. He says, I don't believe in it. They can do whatever they can, throw 100 padlocks in the house a day. Nothing happens. I live my life because I don't believe in it. I don't. That's all. This is how we believe in it and what we put the seed of thoughts in them. If you don't believe in it, it doesn't exist. Do you know how much of my pieces have been taken to do jinx on? You know how many parts of my clothing has been taken to do the jinx on? To change me, to control me and everything else. When I saw one of them, I was shocked. So what you tell me, I know fully what you're talking about now, but I don't believe in it. They can do whatever they can do, whatever they like. It's their way. That's their problem, not mine. And these things lives on the weaknesses of a man in dimension of physicality.
Yes, there is a book, there is an ancient book of Zohar name, which is the witchcraft book, which has existed, and Solomon knew how to do it at the time. Seems like the jinns could frequently come down now. The door has been kind of closed ever since Muhammad Prophet. But yet, as you said, exactly that people call them. If they don't call them, it's not coming.
It's not
to their
calling.
life.
It's the weakness which allows it to be done, and collective weakness brings these collective actions and reactions. I've seen many of these things in my lifetime, and I know exactly what you're talking about. But if we collectively accept it, we collectively create it. It's not that we create children out of the reaction of the egg and the sperm. Our collective thoughts in the different dimensions can create illusion or manifestation of the energy, which what we call it in a physical dimension, physical body, but it's a manifestation of the energy. It does, it can happen. And I see it in nuclear reactors when we do for flights. I've seen them. They have their own lights. There's a recording of us running the flight system in Sanya, 2018, 19, around that time. And we could hear the systems talking to each other. It's recorded. The noise is recorded, just like people talking to each other. Out of the fields of systems, we create noise, we create being, we create souls. So when a man puts a dimension of field, it's just like, let's say, he puts the sperm, and with your energy of your thoughts, you put the egg, and there is the soul created. You call it jinn, pari, good, bad, whatever. You're the other half, which is the creation of it. And scientifically, we understand it. So it's another existence. We believe when the child is born, you create that with the interaction of the fields of people who believe in it, and once they put in there, it creates its own dimensions, and then you feed it. So if you don't believe in it, it cannot be fed. It's like contraception. If you take contraceptives, you can't get pregnant. You don't believe in these things you create, you don't allocate energy for it, it cannot exist.
Yeah, and they say that when they come into your life, they're there forever, and you're like slaves for them. Your life belongs to them.
It's a state of mind. It's addiction.
Is it like what they call malediction? Malediction means to send heavy, bad emotion to someone. Is it the same thing? Kind of that.
It can be done. A lot of people sit and do this. I've seen this. A lot of people. It's like, the gypsies who tell everybody you're gonna be a millionaire, you're gonna win a jackpot, and the rest of it. And they're always the poorest, because if they can say what the number is, but they don't do the jackpot themselves. You understand?
Yes.
So it's just that you set the scene of, I was in Toronto, and those of you who live in Toronto, sometime in summertime there is a section that everybody sits out there, all the gypsies and everybody, tarot card readers and everything. And we just happened to be in Toronto. We just said for a fun with my sister, we go walking, and says, come on, sit down, and they'll tell you. The woman said a lot of things, and then somebody else she said, I don't read your card. You're too bad. You're evil. I don't want you. Can you get out of my room? Just get out. And we started laughing. I said, how come? And then I said to my sister, if she can see this and tells us this and that, why is she sitting in such a grotty place doing this? You could see whatever it has. And it's amazing. Some people come that way. I've been across these things a few times. I was walking in Rome on a Sunday afternoon in a very narrow street. A lot of people, there is usual place, people go walking around. And this guy grabbed my hand and said, sit down here. I want to tell you your fortune. And never met the man. He sat me down. He told me a lot of things. He gave me a ring, and he gave me a small horn, like a tooth of an animal. He said, for next so many time, keep these with you. You need protection. Something is evil happening around you. And I was laughing. And he said, when you lose this, it goes, it finishes. And I lost them. And the things happened, a lot of things happened. From that time, I received these two pieces. And I used to laugh with him a lot of time. And everything which he said in that sequence, in that time, happened. And it was very interesting. Was it my belief, or did the guy know something? But all these things were out of my hand. The things which happened, it was very unusual, very abnormal situation. Did I accept it, or was the guy could see something which he was doing? And it's very, very interesting. I've had a few of these things in my life, like this, out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. One happened immediately after the first conference in Dubai. And that conference in Dubai was the beginning, the end of my last marriage. Just in that conference, a lot of things happened which we never go public with it. But exactly what you say. People tried to, but in a way it was cleaning up what was hidden in the background, which I wasn't aware of. There are souls who are there to protect you, and there's energies which are there to balance out. It all what you put in, what you get out, and what you believe in to do it. I don't believe in these things, but things take shape of their own because they create that energy to happen. Thank you very much. Any other question?
Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless you.
I try to get in touch with you, Mahanas. I know I've got to do it. I don't get time. I work 23 hours a day, more or less nowadays.
Oh, don't worry, sir. I know you're very, very busy, so no problem at all.
Thank you very much. We are very tied up, extremely tied up with China at the same time with the situation in the Middle East. Trying to change a lot of things, being advisors to some government. We try to advise, we try to bring things in order. But at the same time, we have to be very correct with all the governments we work with and with the officials we work in. It's not very easy. It's not very easy.
Good luck, sir.
Thank you very much. Any other question?
I had a question from Win Thang in YouTube. It says, "Good morning, Mr. Kesh. Touching the child in the womb of the mother, what is transferred? The good, the bad?"
Good only. We cannot do wrong, especially with children, because they're transparent soul. A lot of them are transparent soul. When you hold or talk to a child in the womb, they only can receive good. It's the inherent condition of the dimension of the soul. Any other question?
From Peng Peter, who asked, "Do we pay?" He's asking about the wellness prevention program.
Fajnie, moi drodzy. To by było na tyle tego, co zostało przetłumaczone. Mam nadzieję, że jest to bardzo ciekawy kawałek lektury dla nas wszystkich. Też jestem ciekawy, czy jakiekolwiek były odczucia czy sensacje podczas projekcji. To było pierwsze spotkanie, w którym był ten system odpalany publicznie, czy też na publicznym spotkaniu. więc też jestem ciekawy, czy gdzieś coś się wydarzyło. Jeżeli tak, to prosiłbym o jakąś informację zwrotną, bo może to być też kwestia dla wielu osób niezbyt komfortowa, żeby gdzieś tam się wypowiadać w otwarty sposób i jestem w stanie to zrozumieć. Natomiast fajnie by było gdzieś tam jakąś opinię od Was, moi drodzy, usłyszeć. Tak więc 22:02, moi kochani, 27 lipca 2025. Piękna projekcja kolejnego warsztatu. Dziękuję Wam ślicznie i do zobaczenia na przestrzeni. Pa.